but also for Puerto Ricans on the island. Senator Gillibrand.
Thank you.
So thank you all for being here. Thank you to the Majority Leader for his wisdom and leadership and dedication to this cause. I want to recognize Frankie Miranda for his leadership and everyone at the Hispanic Federation for never letting go of this issue and keeping it front and center where it needs to be. I also want to recognize our Congress delegation, extraordinary leaders who have always fought for Puerto Rico. My friend Nydia Velasquez, Darren Soto, and Chuy Garcia. Each one of them understands what's actually happening in Puerto Rico today and never loses sight of its urgency. And I want to especially recognize Nydia because not only has she taken me to Puerto Rico before, but she has made sure that I understand all of the issues that the families have suffered from the issues of Vieques to the issues of El Caño. She has kept me laser focused on the needs of Puerto Rico. I also want to recognize Carmen Feliciano, our Executive Director of the Puerto Rico Federal Affairs Administration, for being here and for leading this issue. I also want to recognize the woman who's going to share her story, Aurelia Saponte, for being willing to tell us what's going on and how it's affecting her. This Take Action for Puerto Rico campaign that the Hispanic Federation has launched unfortunately marks the 4th year anniversary of landfall of Hurricane Maria. And we remember the days and weeks thereafter and the massive destruction that that hurricane caused. 4 years ago, when Hurricane Maria barreled down on Puerto Rico, it left one of the most gruesome and heart-wrenching trails of destruction and devastation that I've ever seen. It was the deadliest national disaster the U.S. has seen in 100 years, taking nearly 3,000 lives. And it did $90 billion worth of damage, making it one of the costliest hurricanes ever in American history. When I toured Puerto Rico following the hurricane, I saw that damage firsthand, and it was stark, and it was deeply disturbing. We saw that there were thousands of families without water, without electricity, without the ability to protect and provide for their families. It was so heartbreaking to see that the response was needed, was so inadequate. 2 years later, we saw blue tarps on homes and buildings across the island. 4 years later, we still see an infrastructure that has never been properly rebuilt. And we still see in Vieques a community without a hospital. Shame on us. 4 years. The 9,000 residents of Vieques have not been able to get and access proper medical care. Imagine that being your mother, your grandmother, your sisters, your brothers, your children. It's untenable. The conditions have forced many families to leave Puerto Rico and have left those who still live there in even greater jeopardy from other disasters like earthquakes, droughts, and floods that have hit the island, as well as the COVID pandemic. Now, another hurricane season is underway, bringing more risk and more insecurity. As we invest in upgrading and modernizing our American infrastructure system, we have to make sure that we do it everywhere, in every community. That includes the archipelago of Puerto Rico. There are 3.3 million Americans on the island, and they need our help. That starts with ensuring that Puerto Rico's needs are included in the Build Back Better agenda and that our infrastructure investments meet the greatest need. We must help Puerto Rico upgrade their electric grid. That one investment alone will help rebuild communities, industries, and the economy. We have to do more to make sure that when we rebuild and repair not only the electric grid, but the roads and the bridges and the sewer systems, we make them more resilient and more sustainable so they can weather the damage from future storms. As weather grows increasingly more extreme, that resiliency and that sustainability could not be more important. We have been fighting for years to get the financial and technical support that the local government needs to continue the recovery, and there is no more time to waste. We need to get these resources moving. We need the recovery plans in motion, and that is how we'll create stability for Puerto Rican families. It must be a piece and a centerpiece of what we do in Build Back Better, and we will all keep fighting until it gets done.
Yes.